Okay. Hello. This is my first YouTube live, so bear with your girl. But I am experimenting and I am going to paint our good old Esther on this piece of wood. I already sketched it. So, yeah. That's already done. But this is very interesting. When I purchased this wood, it was wrapped up in plastic and it's been primed and everything. Like it's ready to go. And previously I really loved working with wood. And it's throwing me for a bit of a loop because it's got this flakiness here. You can see it like in my hand where it kind of flakes some. And that's interesting. The wood that I've worked on before was cut without this edge. So it's just throwing me for a bit of a loop. When I finish, once we have her on this, I was gonna, I'm not quite sure how I'm gonna do it yet, but I'm gonna put this like kind of right there and this like kind of right there. So you can go ahead and kind of imagine that. Yeah, and I think it's gonna look pretty great. I love, what is this, like holly? I don't even know what these are like called, honestly, but I think it's just such a cute look to have like on your wall. And I personally would like to see a lot more artwork like accurately representing African Americans regarding Christmas. So it's definitely like a new thing where a lot more black Santas are being put out and everything. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm not trying to be ungrateful, but a lot of those Santas are like gray skinned and not actually like African American. They look kind of more like, was it cadavers? I don't know. Yeah. So I figured, well, if I don't like it, I can do it myself, right? Why not? So I'm praying and hoping that this manages to stay fairly still, but I think it's gonna have a bit of wobble when I go in here. Anyways, so I have my Gam saw up in this bad boy. If you don't already know, we use that. It's basically paint thinner, magic stuff. I have a whole bunch of brushes in my lap. And I'm actually gonna replace that with this. I use paper palettes because I can just rip this off and dispose of it. Cleaning is cool, but if I don't have to, I'm not going to. Personally, that's just me. Also, I'm not gonna put a background on this because I really wanted the wood itself to show. I think the wood is just gorgeous. And I don't really like painting small, so I ended up sketching it out kind of bigger than I anticipated. But I don't think that's going to be that big of an issue. As long as the wood still shows, I feel like that's going to be a really big part of this creation. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is throw out my primary colors. I got cadmium, read it for yourself, just in case I'm saying it wrong. Red hue, because just having the red is kind of expensive rather than getting the hue, so I tend to get the hue. And I love these big bottles, but I'm telling you, every time I pull out some paint, every time I put paint out, I just feel like I put way too much paint out. Hopefully I use at least majority of that because I really, really hate the idea of wasting paint. I have cobalt blue hue. I've been leaning towards working with ultramarine blue. I might whip that out at some point within this. But I'm just going to try to not do as dramatic of a drop. Okay, there we go. I think that'll work. I can always put, it's easier to put more on there. It's a lot harder to feel good about wasting extra paint. It's a lot easier to just run out and throw some more on there. All right. Now, I got a new yellow, but I have so much paint. You gotta give me a second to find it. Cadmium yellow. Pale hue. Sorry, it's a couple of extra steps in that one. Oh, I'm gonna have to say, I like open a lot of boxes and stuff. I've been doing like a lot of shipment type stuff at work. So my hands, if they end up getting like dry very quickly, just know that I am lotioning up appropriately. I'm doing everything I can. It just sometimes doesn't work out that way. And then when I have my titanium white, I am not going to be using the black. I actually, since most of the time I paint African Americans, or people of color in general, I don't like using black because, I mean, depending on the black that you have, it can be more blue or more red, etc. And I like having a little bit more control over how that turns out. And I kind of hate to say it, but I'm kind of siding with those people that say black aren't a color. Well, black isn't a color. Because yeah, it's just like straight out the tube, black can be kind of aggressive. So I like to mix my permanent Alzerian Crimson and my Viridian Hue together. This works really, really well for African Americans painting brown skin. In general, you mix it together and it gets this gorgeous, gorgeous black. And I'm probably going to just, well, not black, but might as well be. We process it as black. And it really helps because like that green and that red that's in both of these are really what you see in the shadows a lot. You gotta remember, like, shadows and highlights are really just kind of like reflections and refractions of things. So there's always going to be some color in it, but the reason I don't like using black paint straight out the tube is because it may not be the color that I need in the photo when I lighten or adjust it somehow. And that just puts more work on me when I could just create the exact color that I need from off rip. So yeah, let me take a breath. I was talking a little fast. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm a little nervous. Okay, I'm just a smidge, just a little bit. I am going to go ahead and start with my darkest color. Now, I would like to just go ahead and say I am aware that my sketch really, really sucks. And I'm okay with that because I'm working a lot more on not depending so much on the sketch. I'm working more on just going back and changing things that don't look right in the painting itself. Like just understanding spacing and how those things work, etc. Also, there's some cute little fun things on here. I can do a little poll. I can save a little highlight. Yeah, like I said, I've never gone live on here before, so it's kind of interesting to see all of that. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my darkest darks, which would be her hair. You can't really see it, so I'm going to turn it a little bit. No, I'm not going to turn it. I'm just going to bring this to you. So that would be with her hair, maybe around her eyes, eyebrows, back of the mouth, the spot like behind her earrings probably, and maybe just a smidge under the chin. Because not her whole body won't be in this photo. So where do I want to start? I think I'm going to start with her hair. I'm like super nervous about painting the fur. I recently like mastered in my head how to paint fur, and I have not done that on wood, so we'll see if my method still works on wood, and hopefully it does. I don't know. It kind of depends on how fast it dries, and based on my experience, wood really absorbs the heck out of oil. Even when you prime it, you can kind of almost see it happening here, really. So there's that. I'm also very open to questions. So if you're on the live, feel free to ask any questions you may have. If you're not on the live or if you're watching the recorded version of this, I'd be very happy to respond to your questions in the comments, concerns, etc. I know a lot of people do not love when people paint oil on wood, and I am here to tell you that I do what I want. And yeah, I just love the process of it. I like that it dries almost immediately. It was a different challenge when I first started it, so that was very fun. I like that you can still push it around to some extent, but it's just a new experience, and I just appreciate that personally. So I'm going to go ahead and start hitting some bloops and blops. Just kind of lightly filling in any shapes that I see, or mimicking them at least. I don't want to get it too dark. Now see, this reads as black, and it's really just Viridian Hue and Alzerian Crimson combined, and it's not black, but it completely comes off as black, and I just absolutely love that. Yeah. So I'm not going to draw her hands just because with the amount of space in there, I feel like the hand would look fairly random. But Yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with my guns on that one. I'm gonna leave the hands alone. Now, this wood is for the most part pretty flat without like indentures. Like they did a good job sanding it down and priming it and getting it ready. I will say that there is a little indent right here that threw me for a little bit of a loop. I'm just kind of like, wowza. Yeah, like so when I spread this paint out, you can almost see like it almost looks purple rather than just straight up black, but it's so dark that it really does give the illusion of black. And I will die on this hill. I love Viridian Hue and Elzarian Crimson together. They're my favorite couple. I totally ship them. Absolutely. All right. This is the part I've been taking a more traditional approach to painting faces, and like I said, instead of sketching out every detail of the face and then following it like a coloring page, I've really been just kind of trying to make placements and then add things in as I feel appropriate. So I'm going to do the very scary thing of basically blacking out her eye. And I would just make this whole area black, but she really has a lot of, this is like not a oil reference photo. This is a magazine photo, and portrait photography goes a lot. They do a lot of different things compared to what an oil portrait painter, that's a lot of P's, sorry, would prefer. So with that being said, my point is they have the light almost directly on her face, which is great for their work, but as a painter, you would really prefer that light to be on one side of the face and there'd be a lot more shadows. And it really just helps with providing dimension. I'm going to put a little bit more red now that we're getting into the eyebrows because I'm sure her hair is more brown than black. And nothing's going to be perfect. This is just getting the colors on there. We are really just getting those colors on. Once the colors are on, we can go back and refine things. And again, that's like that newer process I've been going about, like with my work previously, especially a lot of my older work. I really was just like, I felt like I was copying and pasting. And now this just makes, how do I describe that? It makes for a more, I guess, authentic look rather than, I think it's a compliment to have your artwork look like a photo, but I think it's even more of a compliment to have your artwork create emotion within the viewer. And I just don't think copying a photo, even though I'm doing that right now, but like really, really working to copy the photo specifically, like literally copy and paste the photo, I just don't feel like it always gives off that same emotion. At least not from the painting itself. It might give off, like, I guess you could argue it gives off some emotion, but I think it's more of, oh, wow, look at that, rather than oh, that makes me feel sad along with this, or, you know, like an actual feeling. So that's just my 2 cents. I am starting to wish I had a smaller brush, but an art teacher of mine told me that a bigger brush is great for blocking in shapes and colors. And I'm going to trust them on that. So there is some darker shades within this red back here of the hat that I am going to go ahead and knock out. Do, 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 do. And of course that white fur will absolutely be last because it is just sitting on top of everything. Yeah, and I think those are all the really dark spots so far. Ooh, had a little pop to it. I'm gonna move this over here because if it falls on my painting, you're gonna witness me crying on live, and that doesn't need to happen. So let's try that one more time. Clean this brush off real good. I am aware that this rag has seen better days. That is exactly why I'm painting with it, because it has seen better days. So won't be washing anything with that rag. But let's see. Let's get some skin tones going. I'm still gonna start with the darkest But yeah, and I'm gonna do those eyes last, just because I'm scared. So yeah, so when I start with skin, I just go ahead and take a little bit of everything. I'm gonna have to put some more yellow out there. First of all, that's like an aggressive amount of red, so let me calm down. Then a little scoopy doopy you. Mix all the colors together. If you get the right proportions of everything, it'll turn brown, but apparently I needed a little bit more red than I thought I needed. Since it's green and my goal is brown, of course I'm gonna have to take more red. I already have enough yellow and blue, so I'm taking more red, mixing that in there. It should turn into a dark doo-doo brown almost soon, once I get enough red in that bad boy. And it's almost just like, what the heck is even this color, right? And that is where, well, first, if you have a color this dark, the real question is, do you need a color this dark? And I do, but I actually am going to take some of this for, is that Viridian, or am I getting my names confused? Elzerian Crimson, actually, because sometimes that, this red is just a little too bright sometimes. And why work harder when you can work smarter? So we've got a brown going. Not quite sure how much I like this brown right now. I need it to be a little bit warmer. She has a very, very warm brown skin. Very cozy. Very much giving your favorite auntie. Absolutely. So let's tone down that blue some by adding these other colors to it. And it's getting a lot warmer. I think I might have to I'm gonna take this red and put it just in like a little spot of that without coloring the whole thing that shade of red, because there are some spots that have a lot of red. You can see a lot of blood rushing to the face. She's very happy. And I'm gonna go ahead and hit those spots first. So let's do this. And it's gonna look crazy at first, y'all. Like, it's okay. You're not supposed to love it right now. It's supposed to be a little chaotic, a little confusing. That is the part that we will hope to fix later on. It's gotta start somewhere. So if you're new to painting, like, try not to be too discouraged too easily, because it really, really boils down to the end result. Like, the process is just that. It is a process. And it's just not very much you can do about that besides enjoy it and appreciate it. And it'll be a lot less intimidating once you start appreciating how things come together and being okay with the fact that it takes some time. I'm gonna go ahead and assist the black down here with some browns. We're gonna come back in later and lighten her up down there, because her neck is not that brown at all. But there's some shadows in there, of course. A lot of shadows tend to fall under, the most popular spot for shadows is gonna be the eyes, under the eyebrows, absolutely the neck area. Your whole head is just covering your neck like all the time. So if your head's not covering your neck most of the day, might be a little concerned. But yeah. If y'all hear some random sounds, that is just my pup in the background trying to figure out how he can sleep the absolute closest to me without being bothered by me while painting. Because I bother him when I paint and he's trying to sleep, and then I move and he's like, why would you do that? And yeah, so he tends to go a little back and forth with me sometimes. Now, I am just calling out shapes right now. Like, if I be like, okay, I see this brown in this shape, like, I'm just gonna go ahead and throw that on there. Especially because it's so much easier to put lights over darks. Once I've gotten a light tone on there, it's actually kind of annoying to have to go back and darken it. So I really try to get as dark as I can in the beginning, because dark colors just do not lay over light colors as well. And that's where fat over lean comes in, and this, that, and the third. But yeah, that's another ball game. We'll tackle that one day. feel like I still have some research to do on that. Like I get the concept, but I don't feel like I always maneuver it very well. But hey, I was self-taught. I feel like that's a good enough reason to be a little confused. And then I took a class and learned some good stuff. I got a minor in it. I did a little bit more than took a class, but it's actually not that hard to get a minor in art. So at least based on my experience. So it kind of felt like I just kind of took a class and called it a day. But I put the work in. It was some good work. And I had some good classes, some great teachers, and awesome experiences. So what can I say? All right. Let's get under that lip. There we go. And I'm going to move to that slightly lighter shade that I wish I had made a little bit more of. Maybe I'll see if I can do that real quick. Just kind of see if I can make a, see, and that's the hard thing. You make a shade, you love it, and I mean, you can always make it again, but sometimes it's a bit more work. Throw some more blue in there. Hope that's not too much. It's not too shabby. Not too shabby. All right. La 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 la. Okay. Oh my God, I'm nervous. Okay. Sometimes just getting the paintbrush on there can be hard. I'm gonna stretch. And I'm gonna let go of any fears, and I got this. Okay, that's like still super dark. So let's make that like a good amount lighter. You throw that white in there, and I mean, it just lights up sometimes. Like right there, like that is a whole entire different shade. But the thing about it is, it washes it out too. So the thing about pushing up value is that it kind of freaks with the, or messes up the, what is it, contrast? The hue, that's it. Excuse me. And now the hue isn't correct, even though the value, which is how light or dark something is, the value is correct. So this brown needs to be warmer. I mean, it needs to be lighter, but it doesn't need to be cooler. It doesn't need to be whiter or washed out. It just needs to be a lighter shade of that brown. And that is where color theory really does a lot of work. Whole lot of work. I'm trying to mute this down some. I don't know. I'm really loving the Alizarin Crimson lately with this. It's nice. I would just like to say for a record, like right now I'm talking to myself in this live, but this time next year it's gonna be like 10 million of y'all. Okay. Let me be a little realistic. Let's just say 10,000. Okay, I don't think that's insane. I don't think that's insane to have like 10,000 viewers this time next year, right? Somebody, I would say, I mean, it would be nice if somebody would tell me that I'm right, but there's nobody that can hear this right now, so. Shout out to anyone who watches this later. And it's just like, what is she talking about? I'm here. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Whew, those eyes are, I'm just feeling very intimidated by those eyes, but I know it's just so funny as an artist. It is not hard at all to get, oh Lord, what is it called? Imposter syndrome. And like, I have made some really, really great work, and I still be like, I don't know if I can paint that. And I have absolutely no reason to feel that way. I have shown before and before that obviously I think I can figure it out, even if I just gotta work a little harder. But I be having times where I'm like, girl, who's finna paint that? Who can do that? Not me. And I be wrong. I be wrong as hell. I just be, I don't know. It's not hard to be an imposter when you're really starting out small. Or not to be an imposter, to have imposter syndrome when you're really starting out small. this little dark part of the wood right there is like really throwing me so off. I wish I could have primed this, not prime even, but just used a wash. Like I normally would wash the whole canvas, but the thing about that is that would ruin the wood look that I'm really, really going for here. So that's heartbreaking. What needs to happen is I need to cover up this piece with some colors that she has going on here. And it won't be so dramatically confusing to my brain then. I'm gonna go ahead and use this good old mid-tone here that I'm working on and see if I can just cover up a lot of this space and get into that wood grain, because there are some parts of this wood that are not making it easy on my very dry brush. I guess it would help if my brush wasn't aggressively dry, but weeball, whatever. All right, I'm gonna go in and help with that a little bit. I don't want to do too much because her eyes are actually fairly light in that area, because of the way the light's hitting her face. It's really like seriously a lack of shadow in her eye socket area. It's like a real highlight. So I don't want to put too much of the mid-tone there because it's not really any mid-tone there in the photo. And though I don't want to straight like copy and paste the whole photo, I do want it to resemble her. That is my goal. And I would like to go ahead and blend this out into her hair. Lay that down. Blend. And really, it's really, I mean, I know you guys are kind of far away, okay? But if you were a lot closer to this, it really would, you can see the face coming together already, is my point. And that's just from blocking out the colors. I am going to go ahead and put this out here. I already see some reshaping that I'm going to need to do just to make sure her face is shaped correctly. But that is really not a problem. Let me just go ahead and get the colors in there. I don't really want any white spots. I'd prefer not to have that. Or light spots, should I say, because it's not on a white canvas. So I guess it wouldn't really be white spots. And I do have to work fairly quickly, like I said, because this is wood, and wood just, I mean, it just absorbs oil like my skin absorbs lotion, and don't even act like I put lotion on. Like, that's how my hands have been acting lately. I got so much beef with my hands right now. Like, she does, however, have a little bit of shadow over, and it's between the lip and nose area here. It's probably coming from the light above her face, making that nose cast a little bit of a shadow. Nothing too crazy. All right, this is fun. Talking to myself, being a little Delulu. I got my Delulu hat on. So I'm not really talking to myself. I'm talking to 10,000 followers in my head. But hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. Now, there's gonna be a lot of yellow in this highlight, and the mixing color itself is probably gonna be a little unsettling. I feel I've noticed that really like is a thing. Like, the color that you mix will look nothing like, oh, okay, maybe I'm being a little dramatic. Not quite like nothing you see in the photo, but it'll be the right color and you're just like, wow, I didn't think it was that shade. And it do be that shade. And like right now, I really want to tone this down. I just feel like this is so, I would like to mute this some. This color is just very powerful. I hope I'm not doing too much by muting it, but I'm going to mute a little bit of it and see how that shows up on here. And I think that reads pretty okay. The hardest part now is just making sure that you don't take out any dark spots that need to remain, because then you're right back at the beginning, like I said earlier, where you're trying to put dark spots over lights, and that's just never, ever, ever fun. The blending on wood is a little different too. Like, you're gonna see those paint strokes. It's gonna be a little grainy. But that's why I love it. I love, love, love that. I feel like I have a harder time maintaining the look of my paint strokes on canvas, and that's just because I get a little excited and start to overblend. I think this is going to be very nice. All right, let's get that chin a little lightened. On that chinny chin chin, girl. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, Miss Esther. We love us some Miss Esther over here. And if you're wondering where I got this photo of her from, this is from Jet Magazine. Like I said, there's not like a lot of I just don't feel like there are too many like classic Christmas photos for African Americans. And I would like to help fix that. Some artwork that can hang, you can put up, you know, 'tis the season. We celebrate too. I would like to see Santas become more than just black or white. I'd like to see some other shades happening. I know not everybody celebrates Christmas, but for those who do, I think it's a nice opportunity. And I think it's very important for the babies, the kiddos, to be able to see what that character or the aesthetic in their colors and in their skin tone. I think that's very important. Like, if I had seen a black Santa when I was a kid, I probably would have freaked out. Like, what is that? Like, I probably would have been very excited. I know. I think the best like thing that's happened to me, representation wise, is probably Chloe and Halle. Two black girls with their locks. Ah, oh my god, I'm like completely fangirling. Absolutely fangirling. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. It's very refreshing. Needed that. Needed them. So, yeah. No, we don't take any Chloe or Halle slander over here, okay? I fight. All right, you don't want that smoke. You don't. In my head, I'm their distant cousin. So, so yeah, I'm a ride for them. Let's get, now this forehead might prove to be a little trickier than I anticipated, because the photos from this time period are a little grainy. And it's kind of a really fun look to them, honestly. I kind of appreciate that it's grainy, because it's very like vintage like, and that's nice. That's fun. Her eyebrow comes out a lot further than I have them out right now, so I will need to definitely fix that. Let's go ahead and get the highlights under the eyebrows out there, so I can let that dry some and we can bring back that dark color. Because, like, I'm not saying you'll never, ever, ever have to darken anything if you do it all in the beginning. I'm just saying if you can avoid if you can skip a step or two, then skip it. Yeah, if you can, then you absolutely should. If you can get away with it. It's always kind of fun to be able to get away with things, too. And this isn't the lightest color I'm going to use. I know you guys are probably looking at this and being like, your light, that's your light color? No, it's just getting, it's like the darkest of the lights, I guess. It's getting the lights on there. I don't like to get too crazy with the lights at first, just because it just isn't always a good look. And it can, like I said, it's harder to get darks over it. So I start with the darkest light. This is probably starting to sound really confusing for anyone who doesn't paint. Just trust me. All right, we're getting somewhere. All right, I'm gonna bring this down. Whew, I'm gonna have to do like get a nice brush and do like her eyelids, because she has these folds in her eyelids that she has a beautiful eye shape, really. But in order to capture that eye shape, I'm gonna have to really go in on those eyelids. I'm not mad, girl. Made me work for it. And she has these beautiful cheeks. All right, now like the parts that I'm most scared for are absolutely the nose, and the eyes. I'm being a bit of a dramatic pants, but like drama queen, whatever. But the nose can be challenging. I'm working on it. It's not coming out too bad. I'm starting to see how people use this classic method. I'm starting to understand it now. But oh boy, it is intimidating. I am not gonna sit here and lie to y'all. It is intimidating. I'm like, what do you mean just draw it? Just do it till it look right. But it really does boil down to shapes. And just opening your heart and eyes to seeing those shapes. You just gotta, sometimes you look at it a little too hard, and sometimes you can't do that. You just need to draw what you see. I'll tell you one thing, my grandma would absolutely love this painting. She'd be very excited. She loves my paintings anyway, but I know her, if I painted someone that she would recognize immediately, I could just imagine that she'd be having a blast. I'm gonna go right on up to that nose and get that skin under there together. Let's get all that in there. All that skin has been created now. Yay! The goal is to get as much white off of the painting as possible. Fill everything up with color. If you don't take anything, just paint bloops and blobs. Just get the color on the painting. And from there, everything just gets so much easier. It truly does. Y'all hear my dog over there sighing like I'm talking too loud? This is what I'm talking about. He'd be like, oh, I'm trying to sleep. And I'm like, I'm trying to vlog or whatever. Well, that area is going to be a little darker, so I'm going to come back with that darker shade later. She is just such just happy person. I love it. All right. I need an even lighter color, but I do think I'm going to mess with the shades I already have before going any lighter. Just a little bit more. I need to define her nose a little better. There we go. It's starting to come along real nice. May have been a little smaller than it should have been for a second, but I think, ooh, let me be quiet. Focus real quick. Okay. It's coming. Yeah, we're getting there. It's gonna take a little bit more than just a one try thing. A girl can dream, huh? I wish I could just paint things on the first try and it just come out perfectly, but that is just not how it goes. now that we've gotten down to her lips, what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead and throw some more darks in there. She has a couple of different things going on shading wise on her lip area. It also should be a bit darker over here. There we go. Do-do-do. I'm going to have to mix some more brown too. But I'm happy with how it's coming out, I'm not gonna lie. I will need to come up with another darker shade of brown, so I'm gonna go ahead and mix that real quick. All right, so I don't want this video to be too long, but I will definitely make an update on how this goes. Yeah, thank you for stopping by, all 10,000 of y'all, and see ya when I see ya.